I've made a few modifications to the Mr. Hobo kit since the first video. One thing I did was that I made a little carrying case out of an old pair of corduroys that I had. It's basically just a blanket stitch along the seams, and then I folded over the top and made a little loop for my drawstring to go through. If somebody wants to see how to do that, I can make a video or something, but it's pretty straightforward. Here's the current version of the kit. So what's missing? The enchilada sauce can. This works well as a windscreen. The problem that I was running into was that occasionally it would get so hot inside of the screen with the stove that the alcohol would just boil off and this thing would burn through alcohol faster than it should, and I don't think it was getting much more heat to its target and instead was just being inefficient. So to solve that problem, this is just a hardware cloth, galvanized steel hardware cloth, and I've got it spot welded here, and then the top is kind of bent in just a little bit so that you can set your cup right up on top of it. And that leaves you with the problem of still dealing with the wind, because if you're outside using these, they're near impossible to use in the wind. You can still do it, but you're going to go through a lot more fuel and it's really inefficient. So this is just a little piece of aluminum that you can just unfold and wrap around the base once we get it all unfolded. You just wrap around like this and twist the ends a little bit so they don't come apart, and then your cup goes on there. I also have a little bit different fire striker. My old one worked fine, but I needed it for another purpose, so I got this. I think this is the Ranger model from firesteel.com, and it works fantastically. Let's see if I can show you some sparks here. So, fantastic sparker, real hot and really useful. Another problem that I was having occasionally with the kit was that this cup got hotter than hell, and I was having to grab it with you know, something to kind of help hold it and not burn my hands. So I actually got this idea and the idea for the windscreen from Mini Bull Design, and that's a guy that makes some pretty high quality alcohol burning stoves. I'm testing one right now, but this is just fiberglass wick that I've wound around, and it keeps it nice and cool so that I can either pick it up like this, or if I want to stabilize it a little bit more, I can pick it up like this. And it stays cool and you don't burn your fingers so much anymore. One of my favorite things to eat when I'm out on the trail, or just as an impromptu breakfast when I'm driving somewhere, is corned beef hash and scrambled eggs. So this is like egg beaters and some corned beef hash. This is way more hash than I could eat, but they make it in smaller cans. Anyway, I haven't figured out how to make that with just the cup, because you have to fry the hash and all of that. So what I've done is I was walking through Walmart and I found one of these cheap little $1 one egg fry pan things, and this thing works great, and it gets plenty hot with the stove, and it only adds 4 7/8 ounces weight to the kit, so it's still pretty lightweight. Obviously this is not something that I would include every time. It's just, you know, if I know I want some corned beef hash and I've got a cooler for some eggs, then I'll just throw this in my cooler and have a breakfast somewhere along the way. These are pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good. The other thing that you'd want to bring with you if you were going to try to make hash in this pan, because you want to get a nice crispy texture on the bottom so that it looks like in the picture. You're going to want to bring a little oil with you, and typically how I do that is just in a little storage container like this. I think this one came out of some Coleman assorted storage container package or something I found at Walmart. It's currently got some sriracha in it, but you can store enough oil in one of these to make more than make your hash, especially since this is somewhat non-stick. Also, if you're going to make corned beef hash, you wouldn't have to have it, but it makes a lot better just an El Cheapo little spatula to help you turn things over. You don't have to have that, but it's nice. And if I'm making corned beef hash, the chances are I'm not backpacking. It's not too much extra for me to just throw this in and have a special little meal on the way somewhere.